Let's bring on our next guest. I'm going to go ahead and read off some other factoids about her. She's the former Chief Operating Officer and President of E-Trade. Whoa! Serious. Named one of the top businesswomen in Silicon Valley by the San Francisco Business Times. Launched Lesbian Equality Business Times. I need to meet this person. Are you back there? Oh, yes, there you are. Okay. This is a very interesting person. Launched Lesbian Equality Foundation in 2000, a California-based organization that has led a number of social justice campaigns over the past decade. She is the co-chair for the National Finance Committee for President Obama's re-election campaign. Currently, she's the managing director of for the Golden Seeds, a national network of investors dedicated to investing in early-stage companies founded and or led by women. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause to a very, very interesting person, Kathy Levinson, everybody.
There you go. It's all yours.
The one thing
Can someone take a photo of this?
The one thing I can't do that Roger can do is I could not possibly be wearing those shoes.
You can try them later. Give it up to Kathy, everybody.
Can you guys hear okay? So I heard Andrea talk about the 4 Ds, but she missed the 5th, which is the most important. Do you know what that is? Dinner. So the only thing between you and dinner is me and a couple other people, so I'm not going to take up too much of your time. So when Jason asked me to speak, he asked me to talk a little bit about the discrimination that I've experienced in the workplace in my life over the last 20, 30, I won't keep going how many years that is. But if I did that, I would be keeping you through till tomorrow's breakfast. So I don't want to spend all my time doing that. But I would like to just leave you with a concept about being an activist in whatever you do in your regular life, that you're always an activist. When my wife, Naomi, was in the audience and I drove up, I said, what should I be talking about today? And she said, well, you know, every day in our life, we have an opportunity to come out or be out, and it's actually just exhausting. The other day, we were each at the gym, and she was getting ready to leave, and she came up to me to say something, and then she left. And the guy who was sitting at the machine across the way from me said, you know, your buddy there is in really good shape. And I thought, really? All I really want to do is work out. I really don't want to deal with this. But I said, that's not my buddy. That's my wife. I thought, it's possible that he dropped the weight on his foot. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's one of those examples of it's just really exhausting because all you really want to do is be at the gym, or all you really want to do is take your kids out, and instead here's an opportunity that presents itself and it's never going to be there again. So when I was at Schwab many years ago, and there's actually a couple of people in the audience who are former colleagues of mine at Schwab, and I was out at the time. I got pregnant, and immediately there were rumors in the company that the way that I had been getting promoted at the company is because I was sleeping with the guy who ran the company. Yeah, you laugh. And I'm thinking, I wonder if they just don't really get it. But really, it was an example of sexism in the workplace, that women can only be promoted because they're sleeping with men. But that kind of began the process for me of what I call a shadow career. And I want you to just consider the possibility that whatever you decide to do in your life, that you have an opportunity to educate, to change hearts and minds, and really to do it one conversation at a time. And I spent 25 years in financial services where the sound went off. And then I was supposed to start dancing. So can you hear me if I talk without a mic? Yeah. Okay. So I spent 25 years around straight, white, Christian men. And really, to a person, they just didn't have people like me. They just didn't know people like me. And so what I thought about is, do I want to go to an environment where I feel more comfortable, where I can be more out, where I can be safer, and I cannot be other? And what I decided is, this is what I love to do, so what I have to do is work from the inside and help people who are in positions of power, who are not like me, be comfortable with people like me. So what that meant is looking for opportunities to educate, to teach about language that's exclusionary. While I was there, my partner and I were in the same department, and there was a policy that said married people can't be in the same department, and so they asked us to not be in the same department, and I talked to the person who's in charge of HR and said, there's no law against it. And he said, yeah, we have a policy that married people can't be in the same department. And I said, but we're not married. And he said, well, you know what the intent of the policy is. I said, yeah, then let's flip over to the health insurance page. And so it's just a tiny example of, I don't think they necessarily meant to be exclusionary, and I don't think they meant to leave us out. But they did leave us out. And so it just took taking a tiny step, taking a little bit of a risk, and saying we need to make this right for everybody. A friend of mine, a colleague of mine who's a senior executive, just emailed me on Facebook a couple of days ago, and she said, help, I just started to work for a company. I filled out all the forms. I put my wife's name down. She is married to her wife. She put her wife's name down as the person to be on her health insurance. And this company has health insurance only for married people of the opposite sex. It specifically says that in the policy. And she said, what should I do? And so we're now working together to figure out what's the right strategy. So one strategy is for her just to quit, because she finds it so offensive and so oppressive. But if she does that, that company is not going to change, and the people who run that company are not going to change. Now, interestingly enough, that company has offered her financial compensation for the fact that her wife can't be on her health insurance policy. But if she takes that deal, it doesn't make it better for everybody else in the company and for everybody who's going to come after her. So really, from my perspective, she has an obligation, I feel this way, that we all do, have an obligation to make it better for people that come after us. She's in an executive role. She has an opportunity to educate, to teach. I suggested she start a women's group there, and then she start an LGBT group, because I imagine in a company of several thousand people, she might find one or two LGBT or T people who have just been afraid to do it. And so she can provide that cover and that opportunity. So I think how I viewed my life is as a tempered radical, somebody who tries to change from the inside, and somebody who makes, sometimes it seems little changes. Sometimes I think, I have two daughters, 20 and almost 18, and one of the ways in which I operate is I always think about, is what I say and how I behave a way that they would be proud of. And sometimes that's really hard. It's hard when we go through immigration and we're going to another country and we all go up as one family when legally, federally, we are not one family. And we are at risk for being turned away to come back into our country or to go into another country. A couple years ago, our family was in Vietnam, and one of the tour guides wanted to know which one of us was the husband. You take a breath, you're on vacation, and you say, here's an opportunity to educate. Our kids were in the car with us, and by the end, she said we were her favorite clients she had ever had. And so I just want you to think about being true to yourself, but doing it in a way where you get asked back. Because if you do it in a way that you offend people, or you make people feel wrong, or you make people feel stupid, then you don't have a chance to make larger, broader social change, regardless of the environment that you've been in. So while I don't want you to hide, and I don't want you to compromise yourself, I do want you to think about how can you be strategic in being true to yourself and keeping your eyes on the prize and sort of the long-term direction that we need to go. So the message to you is you guys are so far ahead of me. I was not nearly as sophisticated and as much of an activist as you all here are sitting here now. So I really want to thank you and applaud you for who you are and what you do. And I know that because of you, my daughters will have a better life, and that I can count on you to do that. And I hope that as a generation or maybe two older than you, we've helped pave the path a little bit to give you a chance to even take it farther. Thank you so much for being here, and all the